What's going on, guys? I had a lot of people reach out to me and ask how I'm catching my skipjack. So I want to show you one of the rigs I've been using. I had been using a bunch of crappy rigs, just 3 or 4 of them on a little leader, about 6 inches apart. But when you go and you lose tackle as much as I do, which you're going to lose a lot of tackle catching some skipjacks, most of the time it's around dams and control structures that have a lot of rocks and snags in them. It gets expensive. So what I switched over to, and I tried out this morning, and we actually filled this ice chest up all the way to the top with skipjack this morning. This is what it is, a sabiki rig. And I got this from Dale at Dale's Tackle. Alright, so it's got a small swivel at the top. Hope you can see that in the camera. And it's got about a 40-pound leader line, and it goes up to these little flies. And as you can see, there's about 6 or 7 of them on there. And at the bottom of the rig, it's got a clip. Now, if you were anchored in the current and thrown back behind the boat, you could use a little weight, and you wouldn't have to worry about snags that much. But I'm reeling it into the shore. I'm fishing from the bank when I catch my skipjack, so I didn't want it too heavy because it'll sink down in the rocks and get tangled. So what I did is I just stuck a little crappy jig on the end of it, just enough weight to help me cast. Now this thing, you can fish it a lot slower. I think it's a lot better than the crappy rigs were because it's so light, it sits high in the water column without you having to reel fast, which is where them skipjack usually are. They're usually in the top 3 or 4 foot of water column. No matter how deep it is, it could be 30 foot of water and they're just sitting in the top 3 foot or so. But the good thing about it being so light is, if you're in heavy current, which most times you are if you catch a skipjack, you can cast it out and just kind of barely keep the line tight enough to set the hook on them and let that current just carry it like that. And it'll stay in that first foot or 2 of water column there. Versus the crappy jigs where if you have 3 or 4 jig heads on there, it would try to sink and you'd be hung up and you had to reel it fast. You'd miss a lot of fish, but when it's going slow, I've noticed a lot more doubles and triples on this. I mean, there was about an hour this morning where we were catching 2 or 3 every cast almost. But it helps to have a little bit beefier rod and heavier line, because when you get 2 or 3 of them on there and it's a lot of drag in that current, and it'll pull you into any kind of structure you're trying to avoid. But let me show you what we got in this ice chest. I got them in a saltwater brine right now. I just drained the brine out. It's just pure ice right now, but my wife's going to the store now to get some vacuum seal bags, and I'm gonna vacuum seal these all up and hopefully keep them for winter time when it's hard to catch skips. But this is what we got. It's hard to tell how many is just in there. There's some shad mixed in as well. I threw my cast in there, but I mean, it's chock slap full of skips in there. I probably got a couple hundred of them in there. All right, so what we got today, we got a sabiki rig. It's got 6 or 7 jigs on it, little flies. On the end, you're supposed to put a weight on the end of it. But I put a little crappy jig on the end because I'm casting from shore. If you was in a boat, you could put a little weight on it. Got one already? Oh yeah, good one, Wabi.
I got one.
Good job, buddy. Good job, buddy. You got him, Wabi? You got him? Get him. Get him, buddy. Get him, buddy. That's a big one. Get him in. Get him in. Good job, buddy. All right. All right. Doubled up.
Good job, YB. Bring him in, buddy.
That's what we want, buddy.
Hold him up, let me see.
Jace, look! Jace! I caught this! Oh my god, what is that? It's a skipjack.
Okay. What are we at now?
Right there. Bobby, that's a big old skipjack you got, buddy.
7, 8, 9,
10.
10. You got 10 skipjacks.
In about 5 minutes.
He was just got
Oh, man.
He just got here.
Yep, just got here. And we're going to dump them in here. Now with a saltwater brine, I learned the hard way. Don't stick your hands in the water, bare hands. It'll burn you because it's so cold. So use a paddle or use a stick or something, and you want to shove them fish down in that brine.
Nice. 2 of them. Oh, they got all. That's all right. You had 2 of them on there. Good job. Get them. Good job, buddy. Got 2 of them.
Nailed it.
Very nice. We're tied, buddy. 2 and 2.